In response to the shooting of Republican Member of Congress Steve Scalise at a baseball practice session near Washington, D.C., Bernie Sanders had this to say.
I am sickened by this despicable act, and let me be as clear as I can be. Violence of any kind is unacceptable in our society, and I condemn this action in the strongest possible terms.
It is by no means fair to blame the shooting entirely on any one person aside from the shooter. However, the wider context of the social, cultural and political deception that characterizes the media house of mirrors is undoubtedly a contributing factor. Gone are the days of debating policy via democratic civil discourse. The so-called trendies of the militant left have taken it upon themselves to spread their violent, hate-filled ideology and pursue insurrection of Western ideals. More will be said on these self-proclaimed revolutionaries in later videos. This video is a look at the nefarious methods with which media propagates the false narrative. For news media is nothing more than a political disinformation propaganda tool used to build narratives that sway public opinion one way or another. As the old adage goes, history is always written by the winners. As the general audience has become exposed to vast amounts of information, the PSYOPs program has had to become more cunning out of necessity. In effect, the media is a weapon of mass deception. In line with the Marxist philosopher Louis Pierre Althusser, direct violence and intimidation by governments can only sustain for so long until there is a revolution and rejection. Rather than repressive state apparatus, the government has better chances of creating a servile population if they control the ideological narrative through what he termed ideological state apparatus. This creates a population who themselves ask for eradication of liberty and freedom. Looking at today's blatant media bias, Althusser certainly hit the nail with this, regardless of the fact that his analysis was being directed in different directions. The WikiLeaks emails proved much of this to be true when dumps of collusion between media heads and DNC officials came to light, from John Harwood of CNBC and New York Times giving John Podesta obsequious tip-offs, to Juliet Elprin from Washington Post asking John Podesta's permission to print a story before it hits the press. And even aside from the many WikiLeaks emails that showed clear collusion, who can ever forget the sacking of DNC political strategist Donna Brazile from CNN when she was caught leaking debate questions to Hillary Clinton during the election campaign? What makes the story even more disturbing is that she had justified her actions in her mind, acting as a quote-unquote political activist. There is also the case of CNN anchors literally giving voters the script just before they are on screen.
He is great, but we are great because we are good.
America's great. All right, so I want to ask you, what was it about Hillary Clinton's argument that resonated with you following Donald Trump's defense of the video?
She stated that America is already great, and I tend to agree with that. Though we are slow in progressing in a number of areas, we are progressing and we need to continue the momentum.
One would think that this in itself was damning and the media would self-reflect. But as I have mentioned, this is not about information, this is propaganda. Even within recent weeks, we have seen mainstream media stage lies such as the attempt at portraying a fake protest by Muslims following the Manchester bombing at Ariana Grande's concert. The media deception has no bounds. There are no lengths that they will not go through to deceive and lie. The best lies are those that are hidden between facts. Establishment media will string together fact grabs using fiction, essentially manipulating the narrative. And if that fails, as people have access to information on the internet, well, they'll just resort to actions such as CNN staging reports. Recently, media has been quick to jump on Megyn Kelly for platforming radio host Alex Jones. The attacks are coming in an endless barrage, but this in itself is the deception. Even before the airing of the interview, news headlines have been dominated by PR sloganeering that beats the audience over the head with terms such as racist, liar, conspiracy theorist, and makes comparisons to terrorists and murderers.
Let me show you how meaner I can be. There's a lot of controversy around this network about Alex Jones, for example. But the fact is that he is an unalloyed racist, a man who's out there pulling the pin on the grenade every day, and he has 6 million viewers who are paid.
We'll see on Sunday. Now, journalists do have a history of interviewing dictators, murderers, and other scoundrels. But the Jones segment has become a full-blown spectacle, which may help NBC's ratings, but leave some viewers upset with Megyn Kelly. Chris?
Howie, thank you.
Some talking heads have covered all angles by saying that Alex should be given a platform, but only if there is content.
You say this segment should not air on NBC. Why?
Well, I think that covering people like Alex Jones is important. I should make that clear at the outset. I think that the rise of these people who foment hate and spew lies is important to our culture. It's obviously tapping into something that's happening in America. I just think the context in which this coverage takes place is really important. And if you were to
By creating an illusion of debate about whether or not Alex should be given a platform, the media is trying to present itself as unbiased and promoters of diversity of ideas. Yet the central message is the same. Alex Jones' character is such that his message is evil and it should not go directly to the public without media filtering. By giving him context, what the media is really saying is that they should control the narrative. The media is not interested in giving the audience the opportunity to make up their own mind. Alex Jones has created an organic following in the many millions. As any honest person, he would be the first to admit his unintentional mistakes, but his passion and often animated veracity, to the best of his discerning ability, scares the establishment. But to them, one would say it is not Alex Jones that they should be afraid of. It is the truth, which is their mortal enemy.